Welcome to the Chris Hanna Show, where business, as usual, gets a swift kick in the ass. If you're tired of the same old advice and ready to disrupt the status quo, you're in the right place. I'm cutting through the noise with bold strategies, unfiltered truths, and a no-nonsense approach to entrepreneurship, video marketing, and content creation. Buckle up, because it's time to level up, stand out, and dominate your market. This isn't just another podcast, it's a wake-up call for entrepreneurs and would-be aspiring solopreneurs who are all in. Let's get started. All right, this is the episode that might make a few people uncomfortable, myself included. But I guess that's kind of the point sometimes, right? You grow most when you are in uncomfortable situations. Today, I want to talk about something that I have briefly touched on before, but I'm going to share a bit more on, that completely changed my trajectory in my life, in my career, in my business. And it was getting fired. Not once, but twice. But not only did I survive it, I look back and I can confidently say, getting fired still remains the best thing that ever happened for me. Not to me, not woe is me, not those assholes ruined my life. No, getting fired was a gift. One that I didn't know I needed in the moment, but I look back now all these years later and I am so thankful that it happened. So in this episode, I'm going to share somewhat what went down, what I learned, and why getting fired might be the wake-up call you didn't know that you fucking needed. Let's go back, way back, 2011. Young Chris Hanna had a solid job. It was a great job. Great title, making awesome money. I was working my ass off. I was doing everything right. I was continually finding myself in great situations, and I was checking all the boxes. You know the drill. Like I was crushing it. And, I win a good kind of award or a bonus, we'll call it. Branch Manager of the Year. I was in the rental car space. I'd get called in for a meeting, and then boom, I can see HR's there, my direct leader's there, his direct leader's there, and I'm done. Today's my last day with the company. Just like that. And I wasn't happy within the company, but I did a great job. I've always done a great job everywhere I went. But what I had done for 4.5 years up to that point was my entire identity. Like, it was my fucking job. Like, there was no one better than me. The title was my self-worth. The company was all that I really knew at that point. It was kind of my first job really out of university too. But they let me go and, said, hey, we're moving on. And it crushed me, but I didn't know how to deal with it. I felt humiliated. I felt angry. I was angry for a number of years. I was embarrassed, and worse, I lost. I don't think I ever lost in my life before. But I had no idea who I was outside of being an employee, for this company, even though I was like a leader and managing people. So fast forward a few years later, I rebuild. I started at the bottom of a company and I kind of worked my way up, and I'm making more money, not as much money as I was making before, but making decent money. And I kept climbing up and getting more and more responsibility, getting to do some cool projects. And just because, you're doing what you need to do and you're living well, doesn't mean that you are, happy. So I wasn't happy, but I was drained and I was miserable, and I felt like I kept pretending all the time, and I pretended for almost a decade. But then it happened again, round 2, fired. And this time around, though, I didn't feel the anger. I wasn't devastated. I actually found myself relieved. Because deep down, I knew that my time was coming. I could feel it. I just didn't know how that would shake out, whether I was going to go or they were going to ask me to go, and they pulled the trigger first, which was cool. I knew that I was relieved because I had started doing side hustle stuff a few years earlier. I had started trying to get infatuated with the idea of, like, could I one day create my own business? And so, knowing that I did not want to live my life making other people's dreams come true, getting fired was like, okay, here's permission to kind of try and go at it and do it yourself. And it was kind of the permission slip that I felt like I needed. So it was kind of the world saying, hey, Chris, maybe it's time to bet on yourself. And that's what I did. Now, I did it only for a few months. And then I ended up taking a VP of operations job, which turned into a CEO job, which then really gave me the confidence to say, hey, I made it to the top of a company and I'm still not happy implementing somebody else's vision. So eventually then I did quit and completely go on my own. I've been on my own ever since. But like, it was the firings and rebuilding myself that really happened for me to started to get to this point where I was like, I can go all in on what I love, and which is content. And I can build something from nothing. And now I feel more aligned, more alive, and more free. So I think I want to share a couple of the lessons that I've learned that maybe could help people out there too. Because there's massive lessons I learned about getting fired when I think about it being the best thing that ever happened for me. Like, you can't tie your identity to your job, because if you do, you're fucked. Like, let's just call it out. Like, most people have no idea who they are without their job title. They say, I work at blank, and they use that as the thing and say it defines them. Your job isn't your purpose. Your employer isn't your legacy. Yeah, I remember thinking this many, many years ago before I even got fired the second time around. You're not your LinkedIn headline. You're a human being with potential. And when a job disappears, because jobs come and go, companies come and go, whether it's by choice or by force, you do have something deeper to fall back on than your fucking resume. I don't think people realize that. The other thing I think I want to share as a lesson is that loyalty to the wrong people will keep you broke and burnt out. I spent years giving everything to companies and leaders who honestly probably didn't really care much about me personally. Whether it's late nights, missed vacations, time that I lost with family, relationships that fell apart because of work commitments. I had a few of those. Crushing deliverables that just, implementing something that I did not agree with. Leading teams that were maybe challenging. And then, boom, next thing you know, you feel like you're a number on a spreadsheet maybe. Look, it's tough. If you're out there thinking that a company is family, like, let me say this, like, they'll replace you instantly if they need to. They'll post your job on LinkedIn before the exit interview is maybe even done, if they even give you an exit interview. So bet on yourself, build your own thing, because you are the only constant. Next, I'll say is that getting fired forced me to level the fuck up. Look, getting fired the first time, I spiraled out of control. I had a hell of a time. It was really tough. Second time around, like I said, I was perfectly fine with it. Actually relieved. I was quite happy. My wife was more upset than I was, because she had never experienced that before. And so she was concerned, and I was like, yeah, I'm good to go. Like, no problem. Like, to blame other people, to look for another job, to play it safe. But I decided, like, I want to lean in. And like, yes, I took a job after a few months, and that turned into an opportunity to give me the confidence to bet on myself. I used it as fuel, though. I used the idea of like getting fired as fuel to say, like, I'm scrappy, I'm creative, I can rebuild, I can do what I want. I can build a business that I always hoped that I would one day work for. One where I got to choose the clients, where I got to own my schedule, where I got paid for my value, where I was just focused on me and my time. So getting fired, it forced me to be honest. It showed me what I'm really capable of. And that I would take that over a comfy paycheck any day of the week. So you maybe are listening to this and you're thinking, shit, that's me. I'm stuck. I hate what I do. I know I'm meant for more. Then here's what I want you to do. And listen up. Start building the thing. Start posting. Start telling your story. Start documenting the journey, even if you're not ready to make the leap yet. If you need help with showing up online with content that builds your brand and books you clients and gives you back freedom, I've got you. You can go to allincontent.ca. We can build your content engine. So when you do leap, you don't just land flat on your face. I think building while you're employed by somebody else is important. The challenge that I had when I tried it at different times was, what happens if the employer has an issue with it? And there are times where employers did. It's not going to matter if you build the right skill set and you start building out your business. But you got to be smart about it. You got to protect yourself, and it can be challenging. And I get it. It's scary. It's scary to venture out, but it's honestly the best decision I ever made. So like I said at the beginning, getting fired wasn't the worst thing to happen to me. It was the best thing to happen for me. It pushed me off a ledge that I was definitely too scared to jump from. And what I found on the other side was freedom, flexibility, fulfillment. So if you're stuck in a job that drains you, if you're walking on eggshells, waiting for the axe to fall, fuck that. You don't need permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start betting on yourself. Again, I'm Chris Hanna. You're listening to The Chris Hanna Show. If this episode made you feel something, share it. And remember, sometimes the universe isn't punishing you. Sometimes it's just shoving you in the right direction. Maybe it feels like with a boot to the ass. But anyways, whatever you do, go all in. We'll see you next time. All right, that's a wrap for today's dose of reality on The Chris Hanna Show. If you're fired up and ready to kick some serious ass, then I've done my job. But remember, knowledge without action is just wasted breath. So what are you going to do? Sit around and let opportunities pass you by? Or are you going to step up and take what's yours? The choice is yours, but don't expect sympathy if you choose the easy road. If you've got value from today's episode, smash that subscribe button, leave a review, or share it with somebody who needs a wake-up call. Don't keep this gold to yourself unless you're afraid of a little competition. Stay bold, stay hungry, and remember, always go all in. Until next time, this is Chris Hanna signing off. Now go out there and take what's yours.